I want to teach you how to make AI calls inside of Google Spreadsheets for free. That means you don't have to pay for the tokens you use, and you get to unlock the most powerful way that AI can interact and help you inside of a spreadsheet. We spend so much time in spreadsheets categorizing, making additional changes to text, and we assume that you have to go one by one. Well, look, if you understand the power of AI and also you understand spreadsheets in terms of the functions that are possible, mixing the two is just going to unlock that next level of productivity for you. And by the way, you can learn for free using this free template that we're going to walk through. Yeah, there are things that you can pay for, these plugins like GPT for Sheets and Claude for Sheets. They are all costing you per token cost. This is a way to tie into free models like Gemma, Mistral, and other things that come out on Openrouter. And we're going to show you exactly how to do it and give you the template to do it. All right, let's get into it. All right, here we are inside of the Open Free GPT sheet by causewriter.ai. And just to get started, you're going to want to make a copy of this. I start with this because I've built these spreadsheets for folks for the public internet in the past, and this is the most confusing part. And the amount of emails I still get to this day where I just respond, make a copy, is incredible. It's surreal. Let's walk through what this sheet does, though. Getting right to it, it's just going to add functions for you to be able to call an AI to process something in a cell. And at its most basic level, when we use the free cell one, cell two, the free AI function, what this is doing is calling and I'll just zoom in a little bit here, a Gemma, a 7 billion parameter model that is free, open source. So that means I can call it. There's some throttles on it, but it's going to let you learn. And let's just see it exactly in action. Let's say I wanted to get a bunch of keywords as an SEO expert based on the following topic, only return a list of keywords. Here's my source keyword. And then over here, I'm going to run my free AI function. And I'll just drag it down so you can see it in action. And I get a list of keywords back, which is pretty great. And then I do it for nonprofit news, and then I get a whole bunch of keywords. So this is just one use case. And what it's doing on the back end, just so you can see for configuration, I have put the ability to, if you wanted to change the model, pass it in there. And this is using something called Openrouter AI, which gives you access to over 100 different LLMs on the marketplace, free, open, paid, everything from Anthropic's latest and greatest to OpenAI's. I've also added, if you are just a OpenAI purist, a way to just make API calls via OpenAI through the AI API key. Now, let's get into, no, I don't want you to get too stressed over this, but if you want to start setting this up, I've set this up for basically the free version of Openrouter. I've set an API key in here, which I'm sure I'll regret. But if you go into extensions and app scripts, you will be able to see in the back end the code that will come with this. And inside of here, we've got a bunch of different functions, and I'll walk through them quickly. This is the OpenAI call function, and all you're going to need to do is reset your OpenAI key and just shove it in right here. You can also rebuild it with property settings depending on how you want to code it and build it. But you just need to get your OpenAI key, shove it there, you're good to go. Keep in mind, it's going to charge you as you do it. We'll get to that a little bit later. We've got then the causewriter version of this with the free AI call for Openrouter. And you can see I have my default model for the Gemma in here. And I default the temperature to 0.2, so it's a bit more rigid on this. And I've left my API key in here, and I know I'm recording this, and there it is. I know the internet's going to take advantage of it, but I actually throttled it, so you can't overcharge on it. So there you go. And if it's broken, you're just going to need to create a new Openrouter API key. And this is just so you can see inside of Openrouter, and this is the Gemma model. But you can go shopping. Like you could go for, I filtered models by here's the newest, but I want prices low to high. Boom, there you go. Here's a bunch of frees. If I want to see Mistral or some of these other models, I can toss those into the variable. And I can also toss that variable in here if I want to change that. So here's the syntax. Let's say if I wanted the Mistral AI, their latest and greatest, I can pass that in with the model in quotes there. So more use cases. As you go in here, I have just like the tip of the iceberg, but like You could use it for categorization. Let's say you wanted the taxonomy of a text or an audience cohort type, or I showed you SEO keywords or clustering or categorization with that. For creative, I can come up with ideas. For analysis, I could have a grade level analyzer of my copy and text for my website. Tons of SEO functions that you can do inside of here. I've also added this incredibly handy web scraping tool. So what this is a native function of spreadsheets. They import XML. You can grab XPath. I have some great, articles that I've linked to inside of here where you can just go learn what that is. But in short, what it does is it goes to a URL and rips the content. And it does it in a messy way, but once you figure out how it's pulling it, you can do really cool stuff like this. So here's my URL. Here's my scraping function where I'm import A3. That's my website URL that I'm pulling, nonprofit newsfeed, one of our properties. And I'm just grabbing the body. I can grab something else if I want in terms of that XML path, but then it rips it and grips it. It tosses in the title and then a bunch of other junk. You don't want to put stuff over here, otherwise the functional breaks. You can see it's just ripping everything it can find. I could be more accurate with this, but forgive me. What's really cool though is now I can build on top of this with an AI call. So in this, I'm calling my free AI. I have instructions, and then I've got the cell I want processed. So this is my copy. So I'll just rename this. This is my body. It turns out, like, depends on what you're. You may need to rename it because it's pulling different information in different places. So here's my body, and now what I wanted was an FAQ builder, and this goes ahead and builds the FAQ for this content inside of the cell. And if I wanted to do it again, I would drag down, and suddenly there you go. Notice when I'm dragging down, I'm anchoring to this instruction cell, and that instruction cell is from right over here inside of let's see, mirror FAQ. Here, create 5 excellent FAQs. So you can see the way that we're building this function by first calling the cell 1, then cell 2. Cell 1 are the prompt instructions, followed by what the dynamic piece of content that you wanted inserted, the cell that's going to change. So this cell 1 is usually your fixed cell instructions, which is why I'm using the $sign to anchor that cell, and then the cell you want processed on. Now, let's say you are doing this to not just a few, but like hundreds of cells. That's where things get squirrely. So you want to be careful, especially if your API key is like calling OpenAI every single time you load a sheet. That's why I put a couple safety functions in place. One is save without functions. This is just going to rewrite over the functions in the sheet to anchor the text that you got from the AI rather than recalling it every single time, because I'll just be honest, hundreds of dollars of mistakes I have made in building and refining this. So, sometimes your role in life is to serve as an example for others. Don't do what I did and burn through a ton of tokens by doing this. Here's another fail-safe that you can do is you can turn this on and off, and this will process once you reload it. So one of the things is, like, if you're coming in and out of a sheet and you're doing dynamic work, you want to go with the off, and then you want to turn it on, and then you can reload it. So I hope this helps to get you started with understanding what's possible with GPT in Sheets. Yes, there's bunches of plugins. I'm aware that there's like GPT for Sheets and Claude for Sheets. I've used them, and ultimately I'm starting to get frustrated with the fact that I can't just make calls to a free LLM. I don't like not having control over where those calls are going, and they're starting to charge for random amounts of tokens. So look, for now, I think this is a very powerful way for you to begin to explore using AI inside of spreadsheets. And so I hope this helps. Leave a comment, leave a question, and check out causewriter.ai. We love building custom tools that are safe, that don't train on your data and send it to other third parties for social impact organizations. And this is just one of the fun things that we have built. We actually wanted to share more publicly. All right, enjoy.